All right, happy Tuesday. All right, I hope everyone's staying warm. So, I am back with today's news brief, and let's get started. And as always, if there's an article you're interested in or hearing more about, or if you want to contribute news articles, just let me know and I will make a video. All right, let's start with world news. And as usual, we'll start with Ukraine because a large Russian force has advanced hundreds of meters in a major new assault on a Ukrainian held bastion in southeastern Ukraine this week, though it is unlikely to force a significant breakthrough there. Okay. The defense chiefs of the United States and South Korea vowed to expand military drills and boost nuclear deterrence, planning to counter North Korea's weapons development and prevent a war. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin was in Seoul for talks as Washington seeks to reassure a key Asian ally over its nuclear commitment. By the way, the doomsday clock was updated not that long ago. We are now 90 seconds to midnight. And humanity's trying really, really hard to get us even closer. Okay. Let's see. So, the Peshawar suicide bombing the death toll has been raised to more than 90 people. So we knew that there were many that were critically injured, so we knew that there was going to be more deaths. And it's mostly policemen. Which, do police have their own set time that they go to synagogue? Because that is weird that there are so many policemen that were there. Anyway, a second nationwide strike disrupted French electricity production, public transport, and schools, in a backlash against the government's plans to make people work longer before retirement. Which is relative because technically our retirement age is 65. That's when you can apply for Medicare in the US. But like I think I mentioned this in an earlier video, I check when I can start receiving full Social Security benefits, if those benefits are even there by the time I'm old enough. I have to wait till 67. Early benefits start at 62, so yeah. Okay. Australia's Nuclear Safety Agency said it had joined the hunt for a tiny radioactive capsule missing somewhere in the outback, sending a team with a specialized car-mounted and portable detection equipment. Authorities have been now on a week-long search for the capsule, which is believed to have fallen from a truck that made a 1,400-kilometer journey in Western Australia. And we only heard about it, yesterday? Now, granted, I'm in the US, so hopefully in Australia they heard about it earlier. You know, the people who could be affected by it. But again, it is the desert, it is the outback, so chances are that nobody's going to come into contact with this, but still. All right, moving on to U.S. news. A Democratic president, a new Republican. Wait, let me see. What is this saying here? So, yeah, people are equating the debt ceiling fight to 2011, but there were still more reasonable people in Congress back then. So, there are still actually a lot of people that we once considered to be batshit are the ones who are being reasonable this time around. It's like, oh, you're gonna be even crazier than me? Okay, I'll start being reasonable. Anyway. President Joe Biden will visit New York City today to tout new infrastructure funding for the critical underwater tunnel that connects Manhattan and New Jersey, an effort that has been mired for more than a decade in partisan bickering and ballooning budgets. Okay? 3 members of the Memphis Fire Department who responded to the fatal police confrontation with Tyre Nichols were dismissed after investigators found he was beaten and left handcuffed on the ground without medical attention for nearly 15 minutes. I heard it was closer to 20, so... But regardless, what the fuck? So anyway... I gave bigots way too much credit for this story. I thought, oh, it's black on black crime. Bigots are not going to say, they can't back the blue, but they can't criticize Tyre Nichols either. So they're not going to, no, they found a way. They totally found a way. Just when I think that you can't be that despicable, they are. Some are saying things like, and one of them was a black man, because, like I've mentioned before on this channel, black people can be racist towards blacks. It is not just you have to be racist towards the opposite, to a different race. Same thing with sexism. Bigotry knows no bounds. Just because you're part of a group doesn't mean you can't be bigoted towards that group. So, this idea about how, oh, they're a product of a single mother, and that's basically what you have in Memphis, because the police chief is a black woman. Give me a break. I mean, how much do you have to stretch? And I just do not get this hatred, that you have such hatred for black people that you will find a way to make this a hateful situation. They're against the cops that beat Tyre Nichols, but at the same time, they're bigoted. Someone also pointed out that, oh, they should have just, if you had just followed instructions. Okay, so you have this magical ability to, A, follow contradictory instructions, and do something after that you were told to do when you're already doing it. They asked him to get on the ground when he was on the fucking ground. They yelled contradictory statements. Exactly how is this Tyre Nichols' fault? Oh yes, it's not. But according to the bigots, this is just gang violence. Ah! My God. The pain in your brain, the cognitive dissonance that you have to employ in order to be bigoted in this situation is just wow. All right. Actor Alec Baldwin and armorer Hannah Gutierrez-Reed will be charged today with involuntary manslaughter for the fatal shooting of cinematographer Helena Hutchins on the set of the Western Rust in 2021. So, and I've mentioned before the only way they could make it stick for Alec Baldwin is if they charge him not as an actor who, should have checked the gun because not his job, but that he hired this armor to begin with because it's his production company. Because I cannot see how you can charge him with involuntary manslaughter. I mean, yeah, involuntary manslaughter with in any other instance. So anyway, Biden's administration said it will end COVID emergency declarations on May 11th, nearly 3 years after the United States imposed sweeping pandemic measures to curb the spread of the illness. Might as well. How many people are actually following any of that at this point? I didn't even know that they still had any emergency measures because everyone is acting like the pandemic's over when it's not. So yeah, I wonder how much of it is, might as well, nobody's following it anyway, or that they actually believe that it's the right thing. Same thing with, because the WHO actually said, the World Health Organization said that, yeah, it's still a thing. It might not be as bad as you can relax a little bit, but it's still there. We are not ready for dealing with pandemics, which I mentioned before because humans. One of these days I have to tell you my background on Facebook. It deals with the way humans have been acting through the pandemic perfectly. All right, Biden is bleh. Suddenly I cannot talk. Biden's oh, I read that already. Never mind. All right, if there's anything new in business and markets. The International Monetary Fund raised its 2023 global growth outlook slightly due to surprisingly resilient demand in the United States and Europe, an easing of energy costs, and the reopening of China's economy after Beijing abandoned its strict COVID restrictions. All right, that's good news. China's economic activity swung back to growth in January, and the Eurozone avoided a recession in the final 3 months of 2022. But Britain is still suffering from Brexit because, well, they shot themselves in the foot. People told them this was a bad idea. The Brexiters were stomping their feet, saying, no, it's not. This isn't going to happen. They conned a bunch of gullible people that this is a good thing, and now they're all paying a price. Okay. Gautam Adani's $2.5 billion share sale was fully subscribed as investors pumped funds into his flagship Adani Enterprises despite a scathing short sellers report which pummeled stocks in the Indian billionaires group. What, something might not have been up and up? Anyway, South Korea's Samsung indicated it has no plans to cut investment in chips this year, even as a weak global economy condemns the industry to its worst downturn in over a decade. The guidance bucks a broader industry trend to scale back spending and output. Okay. UBS predicted an uncertain year ahead, plagued by accelerating inflation and higher interest rates after the Swiss bank beat estimates in its latest quarter. The world's largest wealth manager kicked off a round of reporting for major European banks, many of which have been cutting jobs and costs. I don't know. That sounds like a opposite to what the International Monetary Fund said was happening. Why am I doing business in markets? They hurt my head. All right. Big investors are dipping their toes into crypto waters again after a bumper month for Bitcoin. Yeah, let's see how long that lasts. Let's see. I believe that's all I have for this one. One more market related, which affects my area, my geographic area, is that Bed Bath and Beyond is threatening to file for bankruptcy, and they keep closing stores. Now they're closing the store in my area amongst 87 others. So yeah, so if you shop at Bed Bath and Beyond, I never have. It's one of those, oh, I better quickly go and find out what they have before they close type deals. Um yeah. Yeah, you might want to check in your area if Bed Bath and Beyond is going to stay open, because they are having their issues. And with that, I am done with today's news bulletin, and I will see you guys again tomorrow.